So this week in Mel's Mech Shop, it was time for another Scratch Bash challenge with the awesome scratch builder Earthmanbrick. Links to his channel and the video in the description below. I'd always fancied myself one of those Forge World fancy CHINORK Warkopters, depositing the boys off in the middle of the field, swooping over the battlefield, laying down the Dakar. They sound awesome, but to be quite honest, the Forge World model never really floated my boat, and as it happens, Forge World don't even make this model anymore, so it seemed like the perfect opportunity for a challenge. So for a bit of inspiration, I once again turned to the awesome 40k ORK community over on Facebook. In the Discord, the mad mechs over there had previously organised a challenge to build your own warcopter. I may have fully missed the boat on this one, but it didn't mean I couldn't pop over there and get a bit of inspiration. That blue git, Brak Da Warboss, did a nice summary video of all the entries for that month's challenge, and all the latest ones too, so check them out if you need a bit of inspiration for your builds. So I started off with an old fan off a PC tower. Well, I think that's what it is anyway, as it's been knocking about in the workshop for an age. Just trimming off all the outer casing, leaving a nice spinny bit in the middle. Then cut up a nice base out of nice 1.5mm thick cardboard. Then super glued some square plastic rods for support underneath. Added a couple of plastic lollipop sticks, which I later pinned with a couple of metal rods and some super glue. For the front rotor supports, I used the guts out of the inside of a Beaky's drop pod. Then covered the cardboard platform in builder's scrim tape, my favourite. Some more plastic tubing for side decoration and the skids, and a plastic straw to link the two rotors. For the front rotors, I used them off of an old Defcopter, but I used two sets so I could extend them out so they're a bit longer. Then chopped up the pilot from the Defcopter and squeezed them into the Grot Gunner's cockpit from the Dakar jet. The support for the rear rotors was another bit of that lovely inkjet printer that I smashed up a couple of months ago. A few more lollipop sticks for a nice lightweight tubular frame, and a bit of plumbing pipe for a nice nose cowl. And a few more obligatory cogs from that bloody lovely printer. Started building up the rear troop compartment with some of those square plastic rods and a bit more plastic tubing. I made the rear rotor blades out of cardboard and mounted them onto a small piece of plastic piping that I cut from the plumbing pipe. The rotors fixed to the plumbing pipe is slotted perfectly over the spinny fan bit. What a touch. Then knocked up a roof for the rear troop compartment out of the same cardboard I made the base out of. Built up the sides with a bit of plastic card and a few bits from a battle wagon. With all the base construction done, it was then time to ORK it up with a few armoured panels and dags. Added a few wires trailing out of the power plant from an old SCART lead. And used the skids from the Defcopter for the skids for this copter. Bit of granny grating over the front worky bits, don't want it overheating in flight. Rear engine was made from an old printer ink cartridge, custom mega cannon from a mech gun kit and a Vallejo paint pot lid. Grot Gunner turret on the rear was made with a grot from the Storm Boys kit, one that sits in the top of the missile, and stuck him onto one of the cogs from that printer. Used the front mudguard thingy from one of the Warbikers bikes to give him a bit of armour protection on the rear. Then built up a support for the turret out the back with a few of those square plastic rods and a massive metal washer. Then super glued on countless rivets cut out of hand cut plastic card and little bits of round sprue. Then armour plated up the rear rotor blades with a mix of cardboard, plastic tubing and jewellery maker's wire. Then detailed up the rear rotors with some dags and spikes, because every bit of an ORK vehicle is a weapon. With the main build done, it was then time to prime, matte black spray paint. Whilst the primer was drying, it was time to paint up the crew, the pilot and the side target spotter. With the crew painted and the primer dry, it was then a heavy dry brush of lead belcher all over the entire model. All the armour panels were then stipple painted straight from the pot with Avalanche Sunset, and a base layer of Morfang Brown laid down where we were later going to paint on checkers. All the Avalanche Sunset parts were then washed with Seraphim Sepia, a few more armour panels picked out with Lolthurn Blue, and the checkers painted on. Battle damage and weathering was done with stippled on Vallejo Metallic, Citadel Typhus Corrosion and Vallejo Rust. With all the weathering done, it was then just time to paint up the rotor blades. And that's it, with the final checkers done on the rotor blades, the copter was done. That's it, all done. Can't wait to see this thing raising hell across the skies of the battlefield soon. Nice one, Mel. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked it. And if you did, think about hitting the like button and consider subscribing for more builds. And don't forget to check out Earthmanbrick's video, because I'm sure you'll be amazed with what that man can do with what most people call junk.